Matidi who knows what to do. Mamish, we don't have anyone here in Anipoli. Kol Shekain, Ilan Professor No Da Baal Shem. Certainly, we do not have any famous professors who reside in Anipoli. Imkach Shalva Yehudi. Hech Atem Misrapin. So the Jew, the visitor, asks, so tell me, how do you, if you're sick, how do you get better? Analo, Pashat Mode says it's very simple. Kishiyesh Choli La'adam Kol. When a person has any kind of illness, Kolshu, Hariu Chozer B'tshuva. So the people of our town recognize that illness is a sign from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we get sick, we go ahead and we do a cheshbon nefesh. We figure out what our deficiencies are. We do tshuva. And ultimately, again, we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with tefillah. Ultimately, again, we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to heal us. Now, the parentheses, of course, to the story is, we get better, except when we don't. Meaning, the people of Anipoli didn't live forever, right? Meaning people died from illness in Anipoli also. But the point that this Jew is making is, listen, we don't have a doctor. Not that we don't believe in doctors, and not that we don't believe in medicine, or what was their equivalent for their modern medicine. But look, we're in some rural town in Anipoli. We don't have these resources. So what do we do when we get sick? We understand, based on Hashgacha Pratis, that illness, that sickness is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We internalize the message. We understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us something is in a state of disrepair. I need to fix it. I need to address it. I need to improve it. We do that, and then ultimately we're healed. Listen to this. Last paragraph, page Kofman Zayin. So the man goes back to the tzaddik, Rav Mordechai of Nechshis, a little bit downtrodden and broken. First of all, besides the fact that I'm sure he spent the money and also he spent the time getting to Anipoli. So he goes back to Rav Mordechai of Nechshis and he says, I don't understand, Rebbe, why did you do this? There's no doctor, there's no medic, there's no nothing. Why did you go ahead and send me on this way to go ahead and, essentially come up with nothing? Shalom, tzaddik. Listen to this. So the Mordechai Nechshis says, so tell me, after there's no doctor in the town, so how do the people of Anipoli get better? To which the Jews said, well, listen, Anipoli, when they get sick, like we said before, they recognize it's a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They do a cheshbon nefesh, they internalize it, they find whatever is deficient or broken or needs repair. They do tshuva and they're healed. Amallah tzaddik, listen to what Mordechai Nechshis says. Zel ha-professor ha-choshuv she'elav hiskavanti. Oh, you met the professor. Ha-professor shal anshe Anipoli. Meaning, what's the professor? Meaning, Mordechai Nechshis was giving him like a little bit of musar. You met the professor, right? The great professor of Anipoli is the great wisdom that the people of Anipoli have, that they recognize that illness is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that man must somehow react to that message. Anipoli, of course, is the extreme in this. Of course, is the extreme. Take a look. We'll say one more paragraph, then we'll stop. Hashem Yisbarach, page Kuf Nun Ches. Hashem Yisbarach, hu ha-professor. The Rebbe Shalom is the professor, could be found in every place. He is the expert in healing all of those who are ill. So we'll say, the point, as we've said over and over and over, is again, in no way is the Mechaber saying that when a person gets sick, they shouldn't go to the doctor. Of course not. And by the way, the other piece I want to keep highlighting is, in no way could we say that every single time a person gets sick, that it's a punishment from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that it's because they've done something wrong. Because we know that's not the case. We see it with our own eyes that there are great tzaddikim who are afflicted with many great people who are afflicted with many different things. The idea that the Mechaber is trying to stress is that illness is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, what the message is, I, the affected party, I have to figure that out. That's how to figure out. But to think that the message of the illness is get yourself to the doctor, then I've missed everything. The Rebbe Shalom communicates with us in many different ways. He communicates to us through our parnasa. He communicates to us through our children. He communicates to us ultimately. Again, when I mean that, I mean the situations. What's happening with my parnasa is a communication from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's happening with my children is a communication from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's happening with my shalom bayis is a communication from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is a communication from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But no mode of communication is most intense and most acute as our own personal health. Because as we said before, I can ignore the other messages in life because they're outside of me. I can't ignore my health because it impacts me each and every moment. The idea that Rav Mordechai of Nechshis was trying to tell this Jew is this Jew got so caught up and so focused in how do I find the best medicinal cure. Now that, of course, is important. There's a mitzvah, you have to take care of yourself. You have to go to the doctor. There's not a shayla about that. But at the same time, while I'm doing all of those things, equally as important is trying to figure out what is the message from the Ribono Shel Olam. So Rav Shlomo Anipoli was trying to teach this simple Jew, he was trying to teach him this lesson through connecting him with the great professor of Anipoli. Mordechai Nechshis was trying to connect him with the great professor of Anipoli. Who is the great professor of Anipoli? It's the Ribono Shel Olam. He's the great professor of Anipoli. He's the great professor of Baltimore. He's the great professor of every single place where the Jew is. That ultimately, again, when we find ourselves in this difficult situation, specifically with our health, although we must actively seek out different remedies and different ways to address on a physical way our illnesses and our physical deficiencies, but to also not lose out on the opportunity to try to figure out what the Ribono Shel Olam is trying to tell us. Right, we'll stop over here. We'll pick up middle of Kufman Chesed Eretz Hashem on Monday.
Be sure to.
We'll say good morning. We have a lot to do today. Baruch Hashem, a lot of beautiful Gemara. Our shir this morning is dedicated. This month is dedicated by Yonah and Shashi Ehrenfeld in memory of Yonah's grandfather, whose yahrzeit is approaching. Reb Gedalia Ben Yaakov HaKohen. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Shem will have an Aliyah and the family of Nechama. And also, we dedicate learning the exclusive for Sima Bas Miriam. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, she will have a complete and enduring refuah. So let's begin. A lot to do today, Baruch Hashem. So we left off, today's daf is Kuf Gimel 103. We left off on Kuf Beis 102b. And we left off again 2, 4, 6, 8 lines up from the bottom. Vayas Achov. Vayas Achov es Hashera. Vayosef Achov lasos lahachis es Hashem elokei Yisrael. And kol malchei Yisrael asher hayu lefanam. So Achov, again, remember, we're talking about the evil kings of Israel. So Achov continues to go ahead and do things to upset HaKadosh Baruch Hu by worshiping Avodah Zarah. So what happens? The Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, what does this mean? Shekasov al dalto shomron Achov kafar be'elokei Yisrael. That Rabbi Yochanan says that Achov wrote on the doors to the city of Shomron that Achov has no faith. Achov is kafar. He renounces his faith in the God of Israel. Therefore, again, he has no portion in the God of Israel. So we're skipping forward a little bit. This is not talking about King Yehu. King Yehu was charged with the task of wiping out the family of Achov. So he hunts down a man by the name of Achazio, and he goes in and he kills him. And Achazio was hiding in Shomron. Amrav Levi, what did Achazio do? He would cut out the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the Torah and write the names of Avodah Zarah instead. We'll say this is pretty serious stuff. Menashe, why was his name? Jumping back now, King Menashe. Why was he called King Menashe? Shanosha Ka, because he forgot HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Davar Acher, another possibility. Menashe, Shehin Shies Yisrael Avim Sheva Shamayim, that he caused Klal Yisrael to forget about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uminala Delo Asi La Amod Asi. How do you know that Menashe didn't go to Olam Haba? Dirsev Ben Shtei Mesei Shalom Malko. Ben Shtei Mesei Shalom Menashe Malko. Menashe becomes king at the age of 12. The Chamishim Shalom Malach B'Yushalayim, and he reigned for 55 years. Vayas Hara Be'enei Hashem Kasher Asa Achov Melech Yisrael, and he committed evils just like his alter Zayda, right? Just like Achov. He's not as Alter Zayda. Just like Achav has no portion in the world to come. So the fact that the pasuk links the two tells us just as Achav has no portion in the world to come, so too again Menashe has no portion in the world to come. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Menashe Yishloch Elam Haba. So interesting, Rabbi Yehuda says no, Menashe does have a portion in the world to come. Shene'emar vayispalo Menashe El Hashem vayiaserlo. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ushnei Mikra Echad Darshu. But we'll say so. Fundamental machlokes, does Menashe have a chelik in Elam Haba or doesn't he? And this is a fundamental machlokes based on the drush of the following pasuk. Shene'emar Unesatim lezava lechoma lechosaretz bigla Menashe ben Yechizkiyahu. Literally, again, I will give the nations for destruction amongst all the kingdoms of the world because of Menashe ben Yechizkiyahu. Mar Sarah bigla Menashe shasa tshuva ve'inhu lo oven. So some say that Klal Yisrael was condemned because even though Menashe did tshuva, the nation did not. Umar Sarah, the other opinion holds, was a type of Kuf Gimel, Bigla Menashe, the law of tshuva. It was because of Menashe, because Menashe didn't do tshuva. Okay, so what's the fundamental machlok is does Menashe have a chelik in Olam Haba or not? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan says the following: Kol Omer Menashe eno chelik in Olam Haba, merape yedein shavali tshuva. What's actually a very profound statement. Rabbi Yochanan says, whoever said that Menashe doesn't have a chelik in Olam Haba literally weakens the hands of Bali tshuva. We'll say, what does that mean? The Tani Kamed Rabbi Yochanan, Menashe asa tshuva, v'shloshim v'shalosh shan. Menashe reigned for 55 years. 22 of them he was a Rasha. 33 of them he did tshuva. D'chsiv ben shtei masrei shana Menashe b'malcho, v'chamishim v'chamish shana malach b'Yerushalayim. V'yas harav kasher asa Achav melech Yisrael. Kama malach Achav. So how long did Achav reign for? Esron v'tartin shana, 22 years. Menashe Kalamalach. How many years did Menashe reign for? Chamishim v'chamish shana. He reigned for 55 years. Dal minayu esron v'tartin. So remove from it the reign of Achav, which was 22 years. In other words, that amount of time. Pashalu tlasan utlas. And it turns out that there are 33 years that Menashe did tshuva. So what's actually very profound. So Rabbi Yochanan says, if you tell me that Menashe doesn't have a chelik in Olam Haba, then what you've done is you've taken the wind out of the sails of Bali tshuva. Because we always have this conception that tshuva is always possible. Tshuva is always doable. No matter how much I mess up, tshuva is always a possibility. If you tell me that even after 33 years of tshuva, Menashe could not attain a chelik in Olam Haba, then I could say, what hope is there for me? Therefore, Rabbi Yochanan says, Menashe must have a chelik in Olam Haba. The Bible says, I'm Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rashbi. My tichsiv, Vayishma Elav, Vayachtar Lo. What does it mean when the pasuk says, by Menashe, that the Ribono Shel Olam listened to him. Vayachtar, and I will say, Vayachtar, the Gemara says, Vayasralo. Vayasralo means, and he answered him, right? Or he was attentive to him. So the Rosh accepted the pleas of Menashe, to which the Gemara says, Malamed Sha'asal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kamim Makteres Berekia Kedei Lekabla B'Tshuva Mepnei Midas Hadin. It was actually quite beautiful. The Ribono made like a tunnel for Menashe to tunnel into Shamayim. What does that mean? That the Midas Hadin, the divine attribute of justice, said that Menashe should not be welcomed back. Right? Menashe is such a Rasha, he shouldn't be welcomed back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made from like a tunnel, allowed him to tunnel into Shamayim so that he should be able to do tshuva. Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rashbi. My dichsiv bereishis mamlachos Yoyakim ben Yoshio. Uksiv bereishis mamleches Tzidkiya. So we'll say, why does the pasuk talk about, when speaking about the monarchy of Yehoyakim and the monarchy of Tzidkiya, he used lashon of bereishis as if they are the first monarchs, but they're not the first monarchs. Up until now, where they're not kings. Hello. So I say, ultimately, again, Yoyakim was such a Rasha, and he engaged in so much of Avodah Zarah that the Rebbe wanted to return the world anew. Meaning, he wanted to destroy the world and restart. Mistakel Bedoro, but he looked at the generation of Yehoyakim, and they were tzaddikim in the generation. Then Iskara Daito, and the Rebbe Shalom calmed down. Similarly, Similarly, Tzidkiya was such a Rasha. And the Rebbe wanted to return the world to nothing, wanted to destroy the world and start again because of the Avodah Zarah, because of the depraved behavior. But yet, Nistakel b'Tzidkiya v'Niskar Daito. So it says here's two opposite dynamics. Tzidkiya was a tzaddik, the generation was evil. So in Tzidkiya's generation, Israel wanted to destroy the generation, but in the merit of Tzidkiya, he spared the generation. In the generation of Yehoyakim was evil. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to destroy the generation, but he looked at the generation, and he saw there were tzaddikim in the generation. So the Gemara says, but 1 second, but Tzidkir also says that he does what was evil, that which was evil in the eyes of God. To which the Gemara says, no, what it means is, Shahaya biyado limchos v'lo micha. What that means is he could have objected, but he didn't. Which is an incredible use. So he was the king. And there were things happening under his watch, and he did not object. So therefore, again, he told us what Shabbos says, an incredible use in leadership. But also, again, we learn, I will say very often, any concepts that we're learning by leadership is also a din in parenting as well. That sometimes, again, we see things that are negative, and it's true with our children, we have to choose our battles. There's no question. But at the same time, if I see my child doing something objectively, that's just not good. I don't mean chas v'shalom life-threatening. That's obvious that you step in. But I see that this is just, it's not a good thing. And I stand idly by and I don't do anything. So the mice, again, there's some level of responsibility in that. The king is any leadership position, right? A person has an opportunity to be a mashpia and doesn't do so. So ultimately, again, there's a responsibility for that. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe says, Ka'asti al Achaz, v'nasati biyad malchi Damascus. Listen to this. I got angry at Achaz, and therefore I handed him over to the kings malchi Damascus, to the kings of Damascus. What did he do? What did he do when he was captured by the kings of Damascus? Zivach v'kiter leloheim, she'emar, v'yizvach lelohei, Damascus, hamakimbo, v'yomer ki Elohei malchi Aram, hema azrim osam lahem, ezbach v'yazrini, v'hema yolach shiloh chol Yisrael. So we'll say, what happens? Achaz is doing bad stuff. The Rebbe Shalom hands him over to the kings of Damascus. And what does he do? He starts worshiping their gods. What's his cheshbon? His cheshbon is, well, the gods I was worshiping before obviously didn't help me. Right? My other Avodah Zarah wasn't good. These guys, they have some good Avodah Zarah with them. Some of them worship their Avodah Zarah. Totally missing the point that HaKadosh Baruch Hu handed him over into his enemies to show that he was engaging in negative behavior. And the logical reaction would have been to do tshuva and to worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sachakti. So we'll say, so there's an example of HaKadosh Baruch Hu punishing a Rasha, yet the Rasha not even understanding the message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Rasha being totally oblivious to ultimately, again, what the message that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was giving him. Next, I smiled, or I laughed with Amatzia. What did I do for Amatzia? And I handed him the king of Edom into his hand. And what does Amatzia do after he conquers Edom? He begins to worship their gods. So what's it? Can you imagine this? Moshe gives Edom into the hands of Amatzia, and Amatzia begins worshiping their gods. So we'll say, what's the point the Gemara is making? The point the Gemara is that sometimes people are so ridiculously oblivious to the messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving them. Why? Because they become so vested in a particular way of life that Lamais, again, they can no longer see anything objective. So on one hand, again, you have Achaz being handed over into the hands of the king of Damascus, being punished. And instead of taking this as a Muslim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just begins worshiping their gods, Amatzia has an incredible victory over Edom. And instead of saying the Rebbe Shalom was doing something good for me, he begins to worship their gods, which Rabbi is even more counterintuitive. Why? Because they were just defeated. All right, you want to say Achaz went ahead and worshipped the gods of Damascus because they were the conqueror, they were the winner, fine. You're not fine, but I at least I understand it. Amatzia is going out and worshiping the gods of the nation who he conquered. What's the pshat? To which the one of us listen to this. Rav Papa says, Amar Papa, Haydu Darmi Inshi. We'll say first the widest lines. This is what people say. Haydu Darmi Inshi. Bachi Lemar Delo Yada. I cry in front of the master and he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Chaychi Lemar Delo Yada. I smile to the master and he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Vayle Lemar Delo Yada. Bein Tav Labish. Ultimately, again, I say, Oi, in front of the master, and he has no idea what I'm talking about. He has no idea how to distinguish between good and evil. Shabbos says another way of just saying some people are just oblivious. Some people are just living in their own bubble and have absolutely going back to Gan Emunah, have absolutely no idea how to intuit and how to understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to tell them. Achaz, you're being punished. Amatz, you're being given a bracha. But both is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But there are some people who are just so so wrapped into the narrative, into the life that they've created, that they can't see anything outside of themselves. So we'll say the officers of the king of Babel came, and they stood at the Tavach gate. What's the Shar Tavach? It's the place where literally, again, Shemechatchin ba'halachos means they literally means they cut the halachos. Cut is a lesson of deciding the halachos. Amar Papa, Hanu da Amri Inshi, Ba'asra Demari Tali Lezaine. I will say this is what the Navi said would happen, is that in the place where the master used to hang his utensils, the master representing the Dayanim, the Tzadikim, so Tala Le, excuse me, Taman Kulba Raya Kulkalta Tala. The lowly shepherd will hang his utensils. The idea is that the gates of the city, which was the spot ultimately again for the Beis Din to sit and to adjudicate matters of law, will now become the place where the Melech Babel and his officers will sit. We've quoted this pasuk a number of times. It's from Mishlei, a number of times throughout this Masechta. I passed by the field of a lazy man. And I passed by the vineyard of a man who literally chassid means without a heart. So v'hine alu ula kimshonim kasu panav charulim. It is overgrown with thorns, thickets, and thistles. Begeder avadam nerasa, and its stone wall is crumbling. So we'll say, what does this mean? Asa the ish atzal avarti. What does it mean that I passed by the field of a lazy man? So ze achas. So we'll say this refers to achas, because achas had the ability ultimately again to build something, to create something, yet he didn't. And again, I passed by the vineyard of a man ultimately who had no heart. Who is that? Zemenasha. We'll say the idea of here that's representing is these people had such fertile soil. These people had the ability to plant, so to speak, had the ability to grow, had the ability to make something beautiful, but instead they just let the thorns grow. They just let it become overgrown, and therefore, again, there was absolutely nothing productive that came from their fields. We'll say, and it was overgrown with thorns. Ze Amon. Kasuba, we'll discuss Ammon. Not Ammon, by the way, not Ammon, the nation Ammon. This is King Ammon. So the Gemara says, Kasu panav charulim ze Yehoyakim. Ultimately, again, it became overgrown with thistles. This refers ultimately again to Yehoyakim. Rashi says, if you take a look for just a moment, on the left-hand side of Rashi, 4 lines down, says, V'hine alu kula kimshonim ze Ammon shehela shemamis al gabi hamizbeach. Because ultimately, again, he brought the abominations upon him. He covered the mizbeach, so to speak, with the abominations. Well, shemamis means he brought desolation upon the base, upon the mizbeach. He covered his face from receiving ultimately again the light of the Ribono Shel Olam. And the stone wall is crumbling. Zet Tzidkiyo. We'll say this refers to Tzidkiyo. Shenechra Beis Hamikdash Biyama. That's Tzidkiyo ultimately again. It's right. So what does it mean? The stone wall crumbled. This refers to the structure of the Beis Hamikdash during times of Tzidkiyo. Arba Kitos in Mechabim Pnei Shechina. This is actually quite an amazing Gemara. There are 4 groups of people who do not receive the Shechina. 4 groups of people. I will say ultimately again. Now Mekabos Pnei Shechina, I will say, can mean a couple of different things. But Pashtus, what it means is that even if they're able to get into Olam Haba, they are never able to come in close proximity to the Shechina. Alternatively, it could mean that they don't have a chiluk in Olam Haba. But let's go with the first interpretation. That even if they have a chiluk in Olam Haba, they're not Mekabel Pnei Shechina. We'll say, who are they? Kat Leitzim, right? We'll say the group of Leitzim. So we'll say Leitzim. Who are Leitzim? A Letz is someone who turns everything into a joke, right? Nothing is serious. Nothing is serious. A sense of humor is something wonderful. The ability to make jokes is something wonderful. The problem is a person has to know in life there are certain things that are serious and there are certain things that are jokes. You make a joke out of everything. That's being a letz. So the kat leitzim don't have a portion before HaKadosh Baruch Hu for one simple reason. Generally because they haven't earned it. Meaning if you spend your life thinking of the one-liners, if you spend your life thinking how to make everything into a joke, generally you don't progress very far. Kat shakranim, liars. I both remember, the signet of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Ribono Shel Olam, is emes, is truth. Therefore, if a person is a habitual liar, they can't come in close proximity to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Katz chanifim. So we'll say chanifa is is flattery, but it's non-genuine. Is probably a better word for that. Ungenuine, non-genuine.
Ingenuous.
Disingenuous flattery. Good, thank you. Disingenuous flattery. So we'll say the idea is it's flattery for the purpose of getting something from someone. I don't really mean what I'm saying to you, but I'm saying to you what I know you like to hear in order that I could get something from you. So we'll say it represents just such an interpersonal dishonesty. So it's the same idea as a kat shakranim. Now again, the difference is it might not be a blatant lie, but it just represents this dishonesty in relationships. Kak mesapre lashon hara. And I want to say ultimately again, those who speak lashon hara. So these groups are now unable to be makal pnei hashchinas. In goes to each of them. Kat leitzin dechsev, mashach yadu as lotitzin. Kat shakranim dechsev, dovev shkarim lo yikol negedenai. Kat chanifim dechsev. Kilo the fun of Gemara just quoting psukim just to back up what I just said before. Kilo the fun of Chanaf Yavo. Kat mesapre lashon hara dechsev. Kilo kel chafetz rasha ata lo yugur chara. Tzadik ata v'lo yeh b'mugor chara. V'amar Rav Chisda Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba Ma'id nechsev lo su'una elecha ra'a v'nega leikra b'ohalecha. So we'll say, what does the pasuk mean? The pasuk in Tehillim. What does the pasuk mean? Lo su'una elecha ra'a. That literally evil shall not rule over you. Lo yikrav ba'ohalecha. It will not come close to you in your tent. Lo su'una elecha ra'a. What does that mean? I will say. So the Gemara says, lo su'una elecha ra'a shelo yishlot b'hen yitzhara. So we'll say the bracha that David HaMelech is giving Klal Yisrael, although we'll see it's actually a bracha that he was giving Shlomo, that the Yitzhara shouldn't rule over you. It's a good bracha. The Yitzhara shouldn't rule over you. V'nega lo yikra ba'ohalecha. We'll say, listen to this. And no affliction should come in your tent. What does that mean? Shelo timsa ishtecha safek nida b'shar she'tava min haderech. We'll say, so remember, ohel is usually always a reference to one's tent, to one's home. So v'nega lo yikra ba'ohalecha, there shouldn't be an affliction in your tent. We'll say when a man has been away from his wife for a long time, from a journey, so he comes home and he has a desire for intimacy with her. So the idea is if a man comes home and his wife is a safek nida, so it's a difficult nisayon for a man. Why? So we'll say if a woman is a vada nida, so okay, she's nida. What is the man going to do? If she's a safek nida, then what happens? We'll say. If she's a suffix, then he begins to say, it's probably mutter. I once heard, this, and I'm pretty sure I read this, and I'm pretty sure it's fine. So the idea over here is that a person, chas v'shalom, could end up violating serious isurim. Davar acher, lo suna elecha ra, shelo yiva'as, shelo yiva'us, shelo yiva'sucha, chalomos ra'im b'herhurim ra. What's the other possibility? What does it mean that evil shall not rule over you? That you shall not be scared by bad dreams and by bad thoughts. V'nega lo yikra ba'ohalecha. There shall be no affliction for you in your tent. Shlo yehei lecha bein o talmid shemakdiach tavshilo b'rad. Also, listen to this. That he was giving, we'll see in just a moment, that David was giving Shlomo a bracha that you should never have a child or you should never have a talmid who embarrasses you in public. We'll say the idea over here is that Lamais, again, as much as we always say our children, our talmidim have their own bechir, they have their own free will to do what they want with their lives, and very often, again, what they choose is lav dafka related to the chinuch that I've given a talmid or I've given my child. But at the end of the day, when a talmid or a child does something negative publicly, it is an embarrassment for the Rebbe and it's an embarrassment for the child. Therefore, again, the bracha that David HaMelech gives to Shlomo is you shouldn't have a child and you shouldn't have a talmid who embarrasses you. Ad kan birch bracha oven. Up until now, this was the bracha that David gave his son. Mikan ve'elech birchaso imo. From this point forward, right, then this was the bracha ultimately again that Shlomo's mother gave him. Ki malacha vitzavalach l'shmarcha b'chol d'rachacha al kapayim nisoncha. So she gives him the bracha that ultimately again the malachim should go ahead and watch over you, and literally you shall be carried upon palms. Al shachal ba'fes and tidroch. You shall trample upon the lion and the snake. Ad kan birchasu imo. This was the bracha of his mother. Mikan ve'elech birchasu shemaim. Afterwards is the bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does the Ribono Shel Olam say? Kivi choshak afalteu va'asagbeu ki adashimi. So we'll say, so then this is the bracha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Shlomo, you should emerit Hashem, choose to be part of me. Ki adashmi, you know my name. Yikreinu v'anei, when you call out to me, I will answer you. Imanachi b'tzara, I'll be with you in good times and in over Ultimately, again, you should enjoy longevity of days, and you should find salvation in my name. It's actually quite beautiful because we're familiar with this pasuk, and it turns out that in this pasuk is a three-pronged bracha for Shlomo HaMelech. A bracha ultimately again from his father to him, a bracha from his mother to him, and a bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to him. Rabbi Shmuel Silber, Vayimane Merisham Oram Uzra Ram Tishaber. Shabbos said the Gemara quotes the pasuk from Eov. So literally again, Vayimane Merisham Oram. He literally went ahead and deprived the wicked of light. Uzra Ram Tishaber, and you go ahead and you smash this mighty arm that is literally lifted up. Right? So the Gemara is fine. I will say you can't see it in your Gemara, but if you look ultimately again in the Tanakh, you'll notice that the ayin of Rishaim is like it's above the other letters. It's above the other letters. So why is the ayin of Rishaim in this pasuk? Why is it written differently than the rest? Let's listen to this. It's actually an amazing Gemara. Kevan shena'asa adam rashmi lamata na'asa rashmi lamala. I will say, what does that mean? Look at Rashi. It's in the right-hand column. We'll say the last of the wide lines on the top. 4 lines out from the top. Kevan shena'asa adam rashmi lamata sheyesh lo sonin ve'in ruach habrios nochem. We'll say if a person is despised in this world, right? Meaning a person doesn't have friends. I don't mean doesn't have friends, but a person is disliked in this world. Na'aseh rashmi lamala. Rashi says, "Bi'adua shesonin osumi lamala." La'achi kasav rashim shnei mini rasha. So let's listen to this. Teaches you that if a person is despised in this world, a person is despised by people, they're despised by HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. Which is quite a dramatic idea. The idea is that sometimes the status of my interpersonal relationships is a litmus test for how HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels about me as well. So the Gemara says, but 1 second, so why don't you just leave out the ayin altogether? Rabbi Yochanan Chad Aram Nei Kvodo Shel David, Chad Aram Nei Kvodo Shel Nechemia Ben Chachaliah. Now, listen to this. To teach you that this concept applies to everyone, but not to everyone. What does that mean? Shabbos say David HaMelech was despised by many people in this world. David HaMelech, it's quite possible, is even despised by more people than his brother. You have to understand something. Great people usually become beloved by the masses when they're dead, right? We saw this many times. I once heard, it's an incredible thing that at a levaya, I think I mentioned this before, at a levaya, I heard Moshe Weinberger say this, at a levaya, when they're taking out the mace, everybody stands up. Everybody stands up. Yet during the lifetime of that person, they might have treated him like a piece of garbage. So what's the pshat? Now that he's dead, everybody stands up. When he was alive, nobody gave him really any cover. So here's the difference. When the person's dead, they become Judaica. So everybody has respect for Judaica, right? I'm saying Judaica, you treat it incredible. Human beings, I could treat like garbage. But Judaica, mamish, that deserves cover. So the idea that he's saying over here is the following. David HaMelech was mistreated by many people. The Rabbi Nehemiah was mistreated by everyone. So the idea is the concept that the Gemara just espoused is a concept by Rishaim. Rishaim were despised by everyone in this world. They're also despised by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't apply to tzaddikim. Because unfortunately, again, although it's not the norm, there are examples of great people who were despised by many, yet in no way is that indicative, ultimately, again, of their relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Which was that we've seen this motif before in the Gemara many times, which is exceptionally important, how your interpersonal relationships are a litmus test for where you're holding with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which also makes a lot of sense. If you can't forge normal relationships with people, if you can't get along with people, if you can't get along with someone who's a basar v'dam, who you're able to talk to, interact with, then how are you possibly going to forge a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who you can't see, who you don't really understand? I will say it's the same way that ultimately, again, if I can't engage in kabed es avicha ve'esimecha, if I can't honor my parents, then I can't really honor HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because if I can't go ahead and find a way to honor, leaving aside, I will say, difficulties and complicated dynamics with parents, I'm not talking about those type of situations. I'm in a quote-unquote normal situation. If I can't be mechabed those people who gave me life, then how can I be mechabed HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I can't even see or really understand. So this idea that how I'm doing interpersonally is an incredible litmus test, ultimately, again, for how I'm doing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Gemara says, so Menashe, we'll say, used to be able to advance 55 different interpretations in Sefer Vayikra. Can you imagine that? Not, Bereshis, I hear it. Sefer Vayikra, 55 different interpretations. Moshe tells you what? that Menashe was an exceptional Talmid Chacham who learned the Torah. Keneged Shnei Malchuso, and he did this corresponding to the number of years of his monarchy. He reigned for 55 years, and therefore he used to be able to interpret the Sefer Vayikra in 55 different ways. Achov Shmona Chamisha. We'll say Achov was such a great Talmid Chacham that he was able to advance 85 different interpretations in Sefer Vayikra. Yeravam Meo Shlosha. Yeravam 103 different interpretations in Sefer Vayikra. We'll say, what's the idea the Gemara is trying to teach us? We look at these people, and they're often, they're called Rishayim. They're called Rishayim. We'll say they might be called Rishayim, but understand they have the capacity and the great ability to be great tzaddikim. They just made bad decisions. They're the great people who made bad decisions. And I will say, unfortunately, if you're a great person who makes bad decisions, in life, if you make enough bad decisions, then you become a bad person. Or you become a good person who's just good as so eclipsed that you can no longer see the good. That's the great tragedy of these people. They were all great. They all have great, incredible potential. But good people make bad decisions enough, they become bad people. Tanya, Hayder Meir used to say, Tanya, Hayder Meir Omer, Avshalom has no portion in the world to come. Shenemar, Vayako es Avshalom Yam Yiseu. Pasuk says, and they killed Avshalom. They hit Avshalom, which will say, but Vayako means they killed him. So it mentions that he died twice. They killed him in this world, and ultimately he's dead in the world to come as well. Tanya, Rabbi Shmuel Silber, Achaz v'Achazia v'chol Malchi Yisrael shekasu b'hen layas hara b'nei Hashem lo chayin v'lo nidor. This is actually quite interesting. Rabbi Shmuel says the following: that Achazia, all the evil kings of Israel, where it says that they did that which was evil in the eyes of God, lo chayim v'lo nidon. Also, listen to this. They don't come back when Mashiach comes, right? Meaning, again, which really means they have no olam haba. I should say it differently. They have no olam haba, but they also don't go to Gehenna. Which, I was like, I found this fascinating, because what the Gemara is saying over here is there seems to be like this in-between state of where you're not in olam haba, but you're also not in Gehenna. So what are you doing? Like hanging out. You're kind of like hanging out for all eternity. So pretty much they're just around. They're just around. So we'll say the idea over here is, by the way, just so you should understand, why are we spending so much time? Right? This is like, as many of you have said to me, we've been doing a Gadata for a while to the point that people actually want regular Gemara back. Which is, usually in Dafim we look forward to a Gadata. Now we're ready for a little bit of regular Gemara. Let's say, why are we spending so much time speaking about the Malchi Yisrael? Who are such? Why are we doing that? I will say because the Musar is so profound. The Musar is these were all good men. These were all great men. These were all men with boundless potential. Yet they made repeated bad decisions. And I will say, the Musar for us is our decisions, big and small, shape who we are. These people also didn't think that their small decisions would shape them, but they did. That's the Musar. And the idea is that there are neshamas out there, are people who could have been in the highest levels of Olam Haba, but instead they're just floating around. They were great enough, they had enough schusim to get themselves out of Gehenna, but not enough ultimately to get themselves into Olam Haba. Therefore, ultimately, again, they're just floating. They're just floating. So the Gemara says, "V'gam dam naki shavach Menashe harbei ma'od adar shemilis shayim pele pele vad mechatos shehechti es Yehuda lasas rabbeinu Hashem." So we'll say ultimately again. So the pasuk says, talking about Menashe again, and Menashe spilled an incredible amount of blood until Yerushalayim was filled with blood from one end until the other. So what happened? Meaning, what act of bloodshed does that refer to? What this one opinion says is that Menashe killed Yeshaya. The Ma'arava Amri and in Eretz Yisrael they said Sha'asa Tzela Masoi Elef Bnei Adam Ubechol Yom Haragas Kulam. But others say that he made this out of us. Listen to this Avodah Zarah. This Avodah Zarah, the way you worshipped it was, it took 1,000 men to lift it up, but 1,000 men were unable to bear its weight. So what would happen, Avodah? What would happen? The Avodah Zarah would crush 1,000 men, and that was the form of worship. You essentially sacrificed 1,000 men to this Avodah Zarah each and every day. So can you imagine this? That Menashe is doing this each and every day. So of course Yerushalayim is filled with blood from one end to the other. So whose opinion is reflected in the following statement? Rabbi Bar Chana says that the neshama of a tzaddik is the equivalent of the entire world. Ultimately, again, I will say that would seem to align with the opinion that said that Menashe killed Yishai. So we'll say two opinions. Either Menashe killed Yishai and Navi, and killing Yishai was like filling Yerushalayim in its entirety with blood, or that literally he killed thousands of people every single day, or thousands of people over the course of his reign through Avodah Zarah. So the Gemara goes weiter. Ksiv psalacha uksiv psilim. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, what does this mean? Betchila asla appears of echad. So I'll say now again, we're talking about Menashe. So Menashe went ahead and erected an idol in the Beis Hamikdash. So Rabbi Yochanan, betchila asla appears of echad. In the beginning, so the idol only had one face. Then he made four faces for the idol. Why? One for each direction. We'll say, so listen to this. So Menashe was like such a lahachisnik that what happened? He made four faces on the idol. So this way, quote unquote, whichever direction the Shechina enters into the Beis Hamikdash, you should see my idol. Right? So we'll say, so this is an incredible like lahachisnik. So the Gemara goes right there. The Gemara says, Achaz hamido ba'aliyah. Achaz put Avodah Zarah in the upper story of the Beis Hamikdash. Shneimar ve'es hamizbechos ashar lagag aliyas achaz. Menashe hamido be'heichal. Menashe put an idol in the heichal, which is the primary part of the Beis Hamikdash. Shneimar ve'yosem espesa asher she'aser Beis Hashem Beis B'vayis asher amar Hashem al David ve'al Shlomo. B'vayis zebi Yerushalayim asher bacharti v'chol shiftei Yisrael asim eshmi li'olam. Amon hichnis lebeis kachei galash. We'll say Amon put a pesel, put an idol in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Shene Emar ki katzar amatzeh mehashtara v'amaseh chatzara kas mai. Mai ki katzar amatzah mishtasher. So we'll say the Gemara over is quoting the pasuk from Yeshaya. Ki katzar hametzah mehishtareya. So we'll say literally what this means is ki katzar amatzeh mishtareya means the couch, right? The bed is too short for someone to stretch out on. And the cover is too small to cover me. So what does this mean? What does it mean the couch is too short to stretch out on? We'll say first wide line. The Beis Hamikdash, we'll say, it's like this town is too small for the two of us. The Beis Hamikdash is not big enough for two deities. It's only the Ribbon Shalom, so it's not big enough to accommodate Avodah Zarah. What does it mean that literally, again, the cover is very narrow and therefore can't accommodate both of us? Rabbi Yochanan, so the Gemara says, Rabbi Shmuel Nachmani said, Rabbi Yochanan kelemata lahaikra havi kabachi. When Rabbi Yochanan used to get to this pasuk, he would cry. Why? So we'll say the one about whom it says, about whom it says, he makes the sea into furrows. We'll say it's a reference to Yamsuf. Where HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. Should his cover become too small to cover him? In other words, we'll say that how sad it is that the Ribono Shel Olam's home was turned into a Beis Avodah Zarah. Achaz bital as avodah, the chasam es haTorah. So Achaz negated, he stopped the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. We'll say the chasam es Torah. Now chasam es haTorah means he sealed off the Torah, which sounds like he prevented Torah study. Shnei Amar Sur Teuda Chasam Torah B'Lemudai. Menashe Kader as Haskara. Supposed to listen to this. Menashe took every sefer Torah that he could find and scratched out the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'haras es HaMizbeach, and he destroyed the Mizbeach. Amon Saraf es haTorah. King Amon went ahead and burnt the Torah. V'hela shemamis al gabe HaMizbeach. I will say shemamis literally means cobwebs. He caused cobwebs to grow, so to speak, which means what? It fell into non-use. Achaz hitir es ha'erva. So Achaz permitted immorality. Menashe ba'al achoso. Menashe violated his sister. Amon ba'al imo. Amon had relations with his mother. The idea is that these individuals ultimately, again, are allowing the most depraved of practices. Meaning, we'll say, interestingly enough, whenever people breach boundaries, it's a davar yadua that it's only a matter of time until immorality comes on the scene. Meaning, Avodah Zarah always leads to arayas. Because the whole idea is if you don't live with a framework, if you don't live with a structure, so the idea is sexual immorality is always sure to follow. Because morality, I will say, because the thing that man desires most in this world is immorality. So that's kept in check when we live within a framework of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the moment you break down that framework, we see this now. We see this again. The effects of living in a society where there's a push for godlessness is that anything goes. Anything goes where there's no God. And by the way, not just Jewish, when there's no God, when there's no higher power that dictates to you that there are rules, then anything goes. And when anything goes, again, immorality is sure to follow. So again, once there's Avodah Zarah, Menashe is having relations with his sister, Ammon is having relations with his mother, Shenemar, Kiyu Ammon Harbe Ashma, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Amar, Chad Amar Shesaraf Es HaTorah. One opinion says he burnt the Torah, but Chad Amar Sheba'al Imo. And the other opinion said that he went ahead and he had relations with the mother. So listen to this. Amar La Imo says he's going to have relations with his mother. His mother says to him, Klum Yesh Lecha Hana Mimakom Sheyatzas Mimenu. Meaning his mother is giving him musar because the pashtos, she was not complicit in this act. So she says to him, are you going to have any pleasure from entering the place where you came out of? In other words, I don't understand. A person can have a taiva for all kinds of immorality, but incest with one's mother, I will say, is just meaning his mother is saying it's like pasha abnormal. Just thinking, how are you even going to enjoy this act? Amar Lei, so listen to what he says. Klumani osa el hachis es bori. So what is he saying? Mom, this is not about pleasure. This is about an active rebellion against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I will say, just like this twistedness that exists within this kingdom. But again, we'll say the whole musar is consistent bad decisions, consistent bad choices lead you to places in life that you never thought you would encounter. So the Gemara goes weiter. Kiasi Yoyakim Amar Kamaylo Yodi Lagos right klum. I need tzrichin. So let's listen to this. Yoyakim says, when Yoyakim comes along, he says, those early kings, they did not know how to go ahead and anger God at all. I'll show them how to anger. Kamaylo Yodi Lagos. Kulumana tzrichin el oro. What do we need God for? The thing we need God for is the sun, right? Is light. But even now, yesh zav parvim, which is we don't even need God for light. Why? Because we have parvium gold. So parvium gold apparently also is very luminescent. Yita oro. Let God take back his son. So what's the Yoyakim was essentially saying? We don't need God for anything. All we need him for is the sun. Now we have this parvi gold. It gives off enough light. We'll be just fine. Amrulo. Valo kesav ezav shelo. But 1 second, Yoyakim. The pasuk says that the gold and silver belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shne'emar liya kesav liya azavnu Hashem tzvakos. Amar lahem. No, it's too late. Kadosh Baruch Hu already gave it to us. Why? Because the pasuk says, "Hashemayim shemayim laHashem va'aretz nasan lebnei Adam." God has already given us the earth, therefore it's already ours, and therefore again, God, we don't need you anymore. Amrli Rabba l'Rabba v'Amarim ibnei ma lo manu es Yoyakim. So why isn't Yoyakim included in the list of people who don't have a chilik in olam haba? Why isn't he included in the list of kings? V'shum d'chsibei v'yesed divrei Yoyakim v'tov asavan imtzalav. My van himself, let's listen to this. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Chad Amar Shechaka Kshim Avodas Kochavim Ala Maso V'Chad Amar Shechaka Kshim Shamayim Ala Masa. Both say, just you want to understand how bad Yehoyakim was. So one says that he went ahead and he tattooed the name of the Avodah Zarah on his Makom Milah. On his Makom Milah. When I will say what he tattooed the name of Avodah Zarah on his Makom Milah, so ultimately again, the Milah represents a bris between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. By tattooing the name of the Avodah Zarah on his Makom Milah, what he was doing is he was negating the very essence of our bris with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah. Others say that in fact he tattooed the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on his Makom Milah. Right, to both say now again, obviously that was an act of just blatant disrespect, right? Whatever that's even, not even the right word for that, but blatant disrespect of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'll say, so the idea is, so this certainly is a guy who deserves to be on that list of kings who don't have a chiluk in olam haba. Amar b'malachim no shamati. Truth is, I don't know why he's not included in that list. Ba'yoto shamati. But ultimately, again, I'll tell you by Yoto Shabbosai. So I don't know why Yoyakim is not included. But I will tell you that in the list of commoners, there was one name that was missing from that list. Boss, who was one name that was missing from that list? Micha. Boss, remember again, who's Micha? We learned about Micha. Micha was the baby that Moshe Rabbeinu pulled out from the structure. He was a baby that was thrown into the structure because they didn't have enough bricks. Moshe Rabbeinu pulls him out. He becomes a ridiculous Avodah Zarah. Rashi just tell you this very quickly. Rashi points out Micha. Where does Micha get his Avodah Zarah? Rashi says something amazing. Moshe Rabbeinu, when it's time to leave Eretz Yisrael, time to leave Mitzrayim, so Moshe Rabbeinu has a sacred task. What's the sacred task? He has to take the remains of Yosef. Yosef, there are multiple midrashim, but according to one midrash, Yosef was buried in the Nile. His casket was led and was put in the Nile. Moshe Rabbeinu goes in and takes a piece of pottery, and he writes upon it, Alei Shor, rise, right? Because Yosef Atzadik is called the Shor. Throws it into the Nile. The remains, Yosef's casket rises to the top of the Nile. They take it. Micha took that pottery shard. He grabbed it. After Moshe, I guess Moshe didn't retrieve it after he was finished. He took it. Micha takes it with him. Micha was the one who threw this into the fire by the Egel. He was going to throw it into the fire. Ultimately, again, when they were smelting all of the gold, which caused the Egel to come out. Micha was an incredible Ovid Avodah. Micha took idols from Egypt. Everybody else is taking gold and silver from Egypt. Micha's taking idols with him. He takes idols with him through the split sea. While the sea is split and the Jews are walking on the seabed, Micha says, you want to worship? You want to come with me? You want to chaparayim over you? Make a mezuzah with the idol. Right, we'll bow down a little bit there. Mamish walking through the split sea, and Micha is worshiping Avodah Zarah. He then sets up his own temple in itself. So why isn't he included in the list of people who don't have a chilul harba? Say, listen to this, and with this we're going to stop. Tell you straight part on the parasha. Mipnei malo manu. Es Micha mipnei shepita mitsuya lo ovrei drachim. You know what I was saying? Because Micha was exceptional in his Hachnasas Archim. Because whenever you came to Micha's house, he was always willing to offer you a meal. I was like, can you imagine this? Mamish, the guy's ridiculous Ovid Avodah Zarah. Yet, he was hospitable. So I'll say ultimately again, that's the pasuk. That whoever would pass by his home and you were hungry, ultimately again, there was always a place for you in Micha's home to eat. So we'll say because Micha was proficient in Avodah Zarah, but because he was proficient in Achnasas Archim, ultimately again he has a chiluk nolam abba. So we'll say we'll stop over here. I'll share with you a very short vart on that parasha. So say the vart actually segues very beautifully into what you're just learning in the daf as well. So Parshas Lech Lecha, so Moshe Shalom tells Avram Avinu, Lech Lecha me'artzecha, right? Go leave your land. V'eschala goy gadol, I'll make you into a great nation. Va'avarechecha, I will bless you. V'agad lo shemecha, I'll make your name great. Ve'yei bracha, and you will be a blessing. So Rashi HaKadosh says what? So Rashi gives a number of different interpretations, but Rashi says like this: V'eschala goy gadol, I'll make you into a great nation. So Rashi understands, quoting the Medrash, that this is a foreshadow to Shmona Esrei. So what does he mean again? As Gadol, I will make you into a great nation. That's when we begin. We say Elokei Avram. I will bless you. That means we say Elokei Yitzchak, God of Yitzchak. I'll make your name great. Elokei Yaakov. So what Rashi understands is Avram's greatness is manifest over 3 generations. His greatness as Chalagay, I'll make you into a great nation. Ultimately, again, I will bless you. 2nd generation of greatness, Yitzchak, and I'll make your name great, Yaakov Avinu. So then the pasuk says, but yet it says, Ve'yei bracha, you will be a blessing. So I would have thought the Gemara, Rashi quotes the Gemara that says, Yochlei chus min kulan. So when we say Shmona Esrei, we say Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. So I might have thought that when we end the bracha, we should end Elokei Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. No, Ve'yei bracha. The Yebracha means what? You will be a blessing. Avram, we end with you. How do we end the bracha? Avos, Magin Avram. Even though again, Avram, I'm going to give you all these blessings. You, your son, your grandson. But we end the bracha, we end with you. Baruch Atah Hashem, Magin Avram. So I'll tell you something quite beautiful. And again, it segues beautifully into the end of the daf. That's why I wanted to do it now, even though I would want to record it later because I could do it longer. But okay, so listen to this. So I'll say, so Rav Menachem Mendel of Kotsk. The Kotzker says something quite beautiful. The Kotzker says, we know the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Ashlosha dvarim ha'olam omed. The world stands on 3 things. What are the 3 things? Ala Torah, ala Avoda, va'al gemilas chasadim. The 3 pillars which support the world are Torah learning, Avoda, which also we usually translate as karbanos or tefillah, and gemilas chasadim, acts of charitable kindness. So the Kotzker says, Shlosha ilan iskalo b'shlosha avos. These 3 concepts, these 3 pillars, are manifest. Each one of them are manifest in one of the avos. Avram, of course, is gemilas chasadim. Avram is acts of charitable kindness. Yitzchak is avodah. What does Yitzchak represent? Yitzchak represents sacrifice, a willingness, literally avodah, a willingness to sacrifice. It's also Yitzchak represents an incredible emphasis on building the self, building yourself, avodah of applying yourself, of sacrificing yourself for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yaakov is Torah. Why does Yaakov Avinu represent Torah? Because as the Prophet says, Yaakov ishtam yoshev oalim. Yaakov again was Yoshev Olim, sat in the tents of spirituality, sat in the tents of Torah. So we'll say, therefore, again, 3 avos, 3 pillars. Listen to what the Katzka says. Lifnei bias hagoel, yisma'atu amudei haTorah va'avoda. We'll say, in the days that precede Mashiach, the pillars of Torah and the pillars of avoda will erode. V'yisha'er rak ha'amud shel gemilas chasadim. And I will say, the one pillar which will remain strong as we approach the Messianic era is the pillar of chesed. As the Pasuk says, Sion b'mishpat tipada v'shaveha b'tzedakah. I will say, at the end of the day, Mashiach will come because of the tzedakah, because of the chesed of Klal Yisrael. Therefore, says the Katzker, this is the meaning of Rashi. V'zeh she'omer Rashi b'cha chosmin. So Baruch Hu says to Avram, you're going to be the founder of an incredible dynasty, a 3-pillared dynasty, the dynasty of Torah, the dynasty of Avodah, the dynasty of Gemilas Chasadim. But at the end of the day, what is going to get us to the finish line of Mashiach? At the end of the day, Baruch Atah Hashem, Magin Avram. What gets us to the finish line of Mashiach, I will say, amazingly enough, is not our Torah. What gets us to the finish line of Mashiach is not our Avodah. What gets us to the finish line of Mashiach is Baruch Atah Hashem Magin Avram, the pillar of Avram Avinu, B'cha Chosmin. What closes out this world and gets us to the Messianic era? Midascha, Midas HaChesed, Tachtum as Parshas HaGolus. We'll say ultimately, again, all 3 pillars are absolute necessity. A person has to have a pillar of Torah. It's Baruch Hashem, I'm preaching to the choir. Right? As people have to have the pillar of Torah, Torah has to have a chashivas in our life. Torah has to have a primary place in our life. Torah has to not just be something we do recreationally, but it has to be something that is of the most important thing in my life. Avodah. We have to learn to sacrifice. You can't have everything. And there are certain things that hold us back. There are certain things that hold us down. There are certain things that are negative influences in our life. I have to learn to sacrifice them, to let go of them. But we also have to be Baalei Chesed. We have to be the kind of people who are not only nice and not only kind to our own, to our friends, to our family, but we have to learn to be Baalei Chesed to everyone. Because at the end of the day, it's that Chesed ultimately that is going to get us to the Messianic era. We end that bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Magin Avram. It is only if we are the bearers of the torch of Avram, only if we are the ones who hold up the pillar of Chesed. When I say Chesed, I'm referring to your checkbook. The truth is, we all know giving money is the easiest part of Chesed. It is, again, in accordance with whatever you have. That's the easiest part of Chesed. You know what's much more difficult? Much more difficult is giving a smile to someone who you don't like so much. Much more difficult is holding your tongue when you have a great shtach to dole out, but you keep your mouth shut because you realize it'll hurt someone else. Being a Baal Chesed means going out of your way to say good Shabbos to someone who you don't know. Being a Baal Chesed means inviting to your Shabbos table, not just your buddies. That's easy, but the person who you know doesn't get as many invitations. Being a Baal Chesed means not just saying, wow, that's a beautiful initiative, but rolling up your sleeves and saying, how can I help? That's what being a Baal Chesed. Be Mekabel Kol Adam B'Seder Panim Yafos. Don't be that guy who walks around with a scowl. Don't be that guy who walks around with just a shabrach on the face. But be b'simcha, light up other people's lives. That's chesed. Says the Kotzker. We all want Mashiach. Our Torah helps, our Avodah helps, but nothing helps like our chesed. That's Baruch Atah Hashem Magin Avram. So we should be Zocheh Mir Hashem. It's such a privilege that we are the grandchildren of these 3 pillars. We are the grandchildren of the Avos. We have to work on our Torah. We have to work on our ability to sacrifice those things that hold us back. But not most importantly, but perhaps most importantly for us, as we live in the end stages of Galus. We are right before we are on the cusp of Mashiach. All we need is a little bit more chesed. All we need is a little bit to enlarge that pillar just a little bit. All we need is a little bit more Magin Avram. Maybe Zocheh Mir Hashem to close out this period of Galus with our chesed. Maybe Zocheh Mir Hashem to be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach. Here we are. Amen.